Welcome back to the Our 2 Cents podcast, the show where your local professionals sit down with an array of guests to hear their story and impart some wisdom for both business and life-improving skills. This is your place to hear business and community leaders discuss relevant topics that matter to you.
And welcome back to the Our 2 Cents podcast. Today is a special episode, and as you heard, Scott Hanson was at the Ag Expo, and he was actually on site interviewing some of the vendors, and we're going to be doing that from time to time. I would say maybe a half dozen or so times a year. We're actually going to be on site at local events in our community and interviewing people who are putting on the event. And today we're actually going to have one of the board members of the NOR Chamber of Commerce on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the event we're going to be on site at, which is the NOR Business Expo. Just to highlight a few others that we're going to do coming up in the future, we're going to be at the Tiger Fight golf tournament, JJ's Legacy. Danielle, aren't we going to do the, was it the women's conference?
Business Women's Conference.
Yeah, so there's a few, and as they come up and as you know we fit them in our schedule, we're going to, again, be out there interviewing some of the people involved and splicing it all together and putting it out as an episode for you to listen to. So with that being said, I kind of gave away who is here, and that is Danielle Alqaisi. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Correct.
Very good. And she is on the NOR Chamber of Commerce board. And the event we're going to be at, as I said, is the NOR Business Expo. So before we get into the expo itself, can you tell us a little bit about the board that you're on, how it functions, what it does?
Yes, the NOR Chamber is like, I would say, the Greater Bakersfield Chamber, Hispanic Chamber. We are a smaller chamber, but it has been running since 1985.
Okay, now I imagine you haven't been on the board since 85 because
No.
I don't know that you were born in 85 yet.
A couple years after.
Okay,
yeah.
good. And how long have you been on the board?
This is my first year on the board.
Oh, good. And how do you like serving on the board or boards in general? Is this your first board or what?
2 other boards.
One I know for sure is
88KC,
Yes.
for Alzheimer's and Dementia Day Center of Kern County, yes. And then also NAWBO, the National-Owned Women's Business.
yes. And they are going to have a booth at the expo, correct?
They will.
Okay.
They will be there. Yeah.
Backstory, I don't know if you probably know this because now that you're kind of involved with our podcast, is that was Amanda and Allie Anderson. Was that her name? I think she was a president at the time, if I remember correctly. But that was our first interview and guest we did on our podcast.
Yeah, and Amanda was president at one time
Yes,
as well.
I think she was after Al. I think I'm not butchering her name. I think it was Allie Anderson. That was a long time ago. But anyway, that was our first episode we ever did, and we still don't know what we're doing exactly, but it was really before we knew what we were doing. Yeah, and anyway, they were our first guest. So what other events does the chamber put on? Is this an annual event? Are there other ones that you put on? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is an annual event, but we also put on a golf tournament, and that golf tournament is to help raise money for a scholarship program.
Okay, and that's given to someone local in the community on a yearly basis?
Correct.
Very good. And the expo that we're talking about here today, is that benefit any particular group or foundation, or is that just mainly for businesses to network and to engage in the community?
It definitely is a networking event and a mixer to just let the community know that you're here.
Okay.
And so we put that on just to highlight members or non-members, get more engagement in the community and people involved.
Okay. And how many booths are going to be, or how many booths are going to be at the event?
So there'll be just a little over 30 booths.
Okay. And now you don't have to be a member to have a booth, is that correct?
You do not need to be a member or a member to attend.
Okay.
So everyone is welcomed.
Okay. So by the time this actually gets aired, the event will be
Correct.
done. So this is more for your information, I guess, next year, or if you want to get involved in the chamber itself, I guess you guys have annual lunch meetings, correct?
We have monthly
lunch meetings, okay.
Yes, we do have monthly meetings. They are the second Thursday of the month. Look at their NOR Chamber Instagram and Facebook for more information. But so every month we have a speaker. A lot of the speakers, like I said off air, is been on this podcast. So it's really neat to see them be a speaker at NOR and be like, oh, I saw you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Or I listened to you on the podcast. So it is really neat. And just because I know, I'll definitely mention that at the end. And it's like, oh yeah, if you want to know more information about so-and-so, listen to episode. I go online and look up what episode they've been on and get people to come over here and listen to us.
Yeah, that's cool because, speaking events like that, you're kind of limited in time, right? Because people are having lunch and you probably get a few 5, 10, 15 minutes to come up and speak, whatever. But as you said on the podcast, we're talking to people for a half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. So you really get to learn more about them, what they do, kind of more of a long form. And so that's going to be interesting with the expo is it's going to be kind of like I was trying to think about how we're going to conduct these interviews because this is something new we're doing, and it's going to be like an in-between, not like a news reporting where you're getting like 30-second sound bites, but not quite like a long-form podcast format, right? We're going to only spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so with each.
Right. So it kind of reminds me of if you've ever been to a chamber event, everyone stands up and states their name, what they do, and what they provide for the community. And that's kind of where I see this kind of going is what do you provide for our community and how can you help us out? Oh, well,
you're doing my job for me. Thank you. That's awesome. Now I don't have to put as much thought into it. Can you highlight some of the booths that are going to be on the top of your mind if you happen to know a few?
Yes, we'll have DJ Danny Hill there. So he has been on this podcast a couple times.
Yes.
And very involved in the community. I work with him very closely. So he will be there. Our president, Alfred, he owns Executive Copiers. He'll be there. We saw Damsel in Distress. Defense. Sorry.
Yeah, I said the same.
It's so hard.
Damsel in Distress. Yeah, Damsel
in Defense. Yeah. So they are a taser, laser, all sorts of loud things. Kind of
self-defense, I'm assuming,
self-defense,
right?
Yes.
I'm actually, that's one I'm hoping to get the chance to interview because that seems kind of interesting.
They're ran by two women and they are attached to the hip and they're very fun. I have done quite a few events with them, so I'm happy you're going to listen to them and get to know them a little bit better.
For sure. And I have 3 young daughters, so to me it's like if I can impart anything on them.
And their keychains are all hot pink and their tasers are hot pink and glittery and rhinestones, so it's definitely pretty cool to look at. And loud. They're loud.
Yeah, nice marketing kind of thing for them. I'm trying to think of who else I saw on the list that I think we're going to maybe try to interview.
Teen Challenge.
Teen Challenge, yes.
Teen Challenge will be there. So they are a nonprofit. And
been around a long time too.
Yes, and I actually do their golf tournament as well.
Oh, so, Jesus, you're just all over the place, aren't you?
Yeah. I am. So Teen Challenge is a great organization that helps out those individuals that were either on drugs or alcoholism and helps them get off of that path and leads them to a new life.
Yeah, in doing the podcast, one of the things that has struck me, I mean, I knew it because I've been here a while, but really paying attention to it with the podcast is how many unbelievable nonprofits and community organizations we have in this town. Oh, yes. I don't know if we're unique to other towns, or maybe everyone has it, but to me, I just don't hear as much people talking about that as
people ask me like, why do you live in Bakersfield? It's like, because of the community. And that's definitely why I've stayed here is because how much they show up.
And that makes it unique because it's that community feel, but we have, close to, I think, 500,000 people in greater Bakersfield now. And then, pushing 1 million in Kern County, at least close to it. And so it's a big per capita space, but it still has that like tight knit community, which makes it, pretty unique.
Right. And Shafter's like now Bakersfield. It's just ran into it.
I know. So we just grew right into it. Yeah. And we got the Amazon fulfillment center out there, like the Target, and there's, the Crosstown Freeway is going to start connecting everything.
And the food.
And food trucks, which are just seems like popping up all over the place now.
I actually went to, it wasn't Nashville. It was Louisiana, and a famous chef on Food Network. I told him, he's like, where are you from? I was like, Bakersfield. He's like, you came all the way here and had my food? I know Bakersfield. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, because we've had that, what's his name, Guy Fiore. He does that, I can't think of his show, but he was here doing like a couple episodes for a couple businesses.
It was Ron Sanchez.
Who
I was talking to.
Yeah.
And he's beautiful dishes, but he was like, Bakersfield has amazing food.
Yeah, we do. No, it's great. Anything else you want to share about the expo before we sign off and then interview the wonderful guests?
No, just tune in, listen to those interviews, and if you ever have a chance to come to NOR meeting every month, or they're at hotels, you get to eat some great food and definitely business networking and community networking as well. There's a lot of nonprofits that show up to these meetings. And
it's $20 to attend, but that includes your lunch, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we'll have to check and put in the show notes, but we think it's the second Thursday of every month. Yeah. It's every month. We know that. It's at hotels. We know that.
Check the NOR Chamber, norchamber.org or NOR Chamber on Instagram, and that information is all there.
Okay. Well, Danielle, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you out at the expo. Thank you. All right, we are at the NOR Business Expo, the R2 Cents podcast. I'm here with Scott Hanson, and you heard earlier in this episode, sitting down with Danielle Alcala. She is on the board of the NOR Chamber of Commerce, and she kind of set the stage a little bit as to what this event is about, what the chamber does. And we're here on site again, going to speak with some of the vendors at these booths. And first up, we have DJ Danny Hill. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think this is the third time we've spoke with you, or
Probably.
second?
I've given you almost 6 cents at this point.
You have.
Right? Once we get to $1, that's it.
Then you can start charging.
Yeah, then it starts costing.
Yeah. So for those who have not heard the past episodes, tell us a little bit about what you do in your company.
Well, I keep it real. I don't fake the funk. That's not me. So I'm a DJ. I own radio stations. I marry people. I'm a father of 5. I do stand-up comedy. I drive a really old car. That's me. That's what I do.
Is it a classic car or just an old car?
No. It's just like an old 2002, something I could barely afford.
Perfect.
But I put my logos all over it, and that's it. So my wife gets a nice car. Every time they're like, wow, your wife drives a nice car. And I'm like, yeah, it must be nice to be married to me. But I drive a horrible car, but it's okay.
Excellent. So what brings you out here to the NOR Expo?
Well, sound. I'm going to be doing sound, and then plus we're also promoting the radio stations here. So I do work with North of the River and different events, trying to figure out, who the different businesses are. Bakersfield's split up into like 4 different sections. So you have the North of the River, you've got like the Southwest, you've got East Side, and then you've got like Southeast. So it's weird how there's different chambers for everything, and they all kind of branch out to different people. So this one specifically is North of the River, and for those that don't know, that's basically Oildale or north of Bakersfield, right? Like Hodell's, I guess you could consider that area. But
doesn't some of the downtown businesses and are part of the NOR chamber?
I mean, it's possible. I know there's the Downtown Business Association, right? And then there's the Greater Bakersfield Chamber, which is out of that. And then you've got the Hispanic Chamber. And then, of course, the Black Chamber of Commerce. So they all have like different sections that they go into. So I'm pretty sure that's why we're so far deep. Like, I didn't even know this place existed till I came today. Did you know this existed?
No, but when I was driving to it, I was a little concerned about where we were going, if I was being honest. But as soon as I pulled up, wow, this is a nice facility.
It's a nice facility, but I was like, I'm going through neighborhoods, and I'm like, dude, I got the wrong address.
I know.
Right? So, and this is kind of what's cool about what they're doing is they're showing people like me and you who would never come over here,
right? Hey,
we have this available. It is nice. It's just somewhere where you wouldn't be exploring typically. And I think that's kind of what's cool about the different chambers is they represent the different sections, right, and show you different areas and stuff. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have been deep over here trying to figure this out.
Yeah, no, it exposes you to things.
Exposes you to stuff, yeah.
Otherwise, wouldn't normally see. So are you doing anything with respect to, you did mention you're advertising the radio stations, but are you basically just providing the music today, or are you actually have a booth set up?
I'm providing the music. I'm also going to MC. We're going to do some prize giveaways, so anytime they, and then I'm going to give the mic to the president here. He's going to speak and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I'm usually a good support person. Over the years, I've become I do all the charity events. I'm doing SPCA's gala tomorrow. The Bakersfield Marathon was just asked to do that. This last year I did like 6 marathons, 4 or 5 galas. So it's just, or gala, depending on where you're from. It just seems like they ask me to do it because I can talk. Right? It's like a weird gift. So I can talk, and I have no problem talking in front of groups.
Well.
And I love talking in front of people, and I think it's fun. But it turns out a lot of people don't like it. My wife, one of them, she's on TV and does radio, cannot speak in front of a crowd. She just shakes. She shakes. She like physically shakes. And I'm like, what's wrong? I don't like this. I'm like, dude, we talk to more people on the radio. What are you talking about? I just don't want them judging me. And I'm like, that's what we differ. I'm already fat and ugly. So I don't care, right? Like, I'm already there. You can't tell me something. I'm like that. Who was that? Remember that story about that guy with the big nose? And everybody would make fun of his nose, but you couldn't hurt his feelings because he'd make fun of it worse. Yeah, but Steve Martin played the role, but it was
Roxanne.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was based off an older movie, but that's kind of how I feel. Like there's nothing anyone could say to me that I haven't said to myself.
I kind of get that a little bit though. I enjoy talking. I enjoy talking to clients. I love doing the podcast, but in front of a large group of people, that bothers me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just there's no intimacy to it. It's not a natural form of communication. You have to.
No, it's like you sit there and listen to me speak.
Right.
Maybe that's why, because I'm egotistical.
There you go.
But I did. So I opened up for Carlos Mencia once, and it was, I want to say 19. In my mind, it was 19,000, but we could safely say probably 1,900. But whatever, anywhere between that, it was more people than I was normally in front of. And I remember I stepped in front of the stage lights because they were beaming down, and I looked out, and I saw this wave of people, and I was like, oh my gosh. this is it. Like, so then I stepped back and I told the joke, and it was the weirdest thing, is it was like a wave, because the people in front heard you first. So then they'd be like, ha 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 ha. It would wave on, so you had to like tell your joke slowly as it would ripple through the crowd. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, so my trick, I'll share it, is we do seminars, and when I'm speaking, giving a presentation, as you can see, I wear glasses, right? And I'm nearsighted, so I can't see far away very well. So when I'm doing a presentation, I take my glasses off, so that way it's just a blur. I'm not. There's no eye contact.
Oh, that's a good trick.
I just see a blur of faces that blend together in colors.
So I always concentrate on one person, and if they're having a good time, I'm having a good time.
There you go.
But it's hard to choose that one person, because sometimes you choose the person who's having a bad time, and you're like, damn it, I need to be funnier.
Or
right?
switch person.
And then you just keep trying harder and harder. Why are you so grumpy? You don't know. So.
Well, anything else you'd like to tell us about this event, or is this the first time you've done it? Anything?
Yeah, this is the first time I've done it, okay. So I'm just as excited as you guys are to see what the outcome is. There's a lot of vendors here, a lot of people that have different things that they're passionate about. So I'm excited to see what they want to say and see who shows up, and maybe sell some Bakersfield snow online later tonight.
There you go.
Make some thousands of dollars. Yeah, so right. We'll see. Snow cones.
Well, Danny Hill, thank you again for joining us on the podcast. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. I appreciate you guys.
Paula, welcome to the Our 2 Cents podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about your company.
I'm with a company called Damsel in Defense, and what we want to do is we want to protect, prepare, and prevent things from happening. So we have things like small weapons, stun devices, pepper sprays. We have bullet-resistant shields that go in backpacks and in to your binder. We do that, but also our company, we support 2 houses abroad that we get the girls and boys off the street that have been trafficked. So that's why we're out here doing that. We're protecting here, and then also in turn we protect abroad.
Okay, and is the Damsel because you guys are damsels, or is it because you're focusing on protecting women?
Well, and you know what? I mean, we are geared towards women, but that doesn't mean that's all we protect. We want to raise awareness for everybody. So that could be for moms, dads, aunties, uncles, cousins, children, whomever it might be.
Okay, and when you say abroad, where are the places that
we have one in Cambodia, and then we have one in an undisclosed location.
Oh, okay. And so here we are at North of the River Expo. And how are you guys related to this, and why'd you guys come out today?
Actually, because we want to protect people, right? That's what we are, and we want to keep our community safe. And so we're here as a vendor, sharing that with everybody that comes here today.
Have you guys done this event before?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and so you must be active here in the North of the River community.
Actually, yep, Shelly Austin is actually a member.
Oh, okay, fantastic, good. So after the show, if somebody wants to reach out and find out more information, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you contact Shelly Austin. She's local to Bakersfield. She's your go-to girl here. And her website is damselsforjustice.com.
Excellent. Paula, thanks a lot for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we are here with Alfred Valenzula. He is the president of the NOR Chamber and also a local business owner, Executive Copiers, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, Executive Copier Solutions, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, first, let's tell us a little bit about your role as president on the NOR Chamber.
Yeah, well, I'm actually a new president. The past president, I guess, she resigned a little bit early, so I had to step in and kind of fill in at a moment's notice. So that was back in October.
Okay, so, and you were on the board presumably before that?
I was on the board, and I got up to use the restroom and came back, and I was the president. So president-elect, anywho.
See, you didn't get a chance to say no.
No, not really. But, we needed help, and I've always believed in this chamber, and I wanted to help. And so, I don't mind stepping up if I have to, especially if nobody else is actually looking to. So
no, that's great. I mean, everyone needs someone to step up and take control at some point. So tell us a little bit about the chamber itself. What areas does it serve, businesses, so on and so forth?
Well, it's the NOR Chamber, so it stands for North of the River. So pretty much anything north of the Kern River would be our territory. But, the focus has always been in Oildale. Oildale is our primary point of contact. We're trying to reach out to the community. But, we do, like I said, anything north of the river. So that's a lot of ags, a lot of oil. And, that's kind of what we stand for, is helping the small businesses grow, develop, trying to create resources for them, trying to create opportunity for them. So that's in a nutshell. And
that's great because, if you hear from the local community, sometimes, as you know, Oildale is maybe an underserved portion of Bakersfield or our community at large. And so I think having this chamber specifically, to gear towards that community, provides a lot more benefit than would otherwise seem.
Well, absolutely. We could have held this event at the, a nice hotel with a big room that you typically find our events in, but we chose to have this event in the rec center here in the middle of Oildale, and we are utilizing the Kern River Rec Center, which is the NOR Parks and Rec Department, which is a partner of ours. So, that kind of just goes to show that we're not just talking that we want to get involved with Oildale and help out, but we go that extra mile, and we had the event here so we can promote not only ourselves but the NOR Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and also I think it's a great sign to the community that you are doing it with good intentions, right? Because you're actually here in the middle of Oildale as opposed to, like you said, being downtown or something when that's not really the focus. So tell us a little bit, if you would, about your business. You are a local business owner. We are a podcast that focuses on entrepreneurial spirit, on managers or young people who are aspiring to become managers. So tell us a little about your business, how long you've been in business, and what your business does.
Yes, I actually bought this company. I've been in the industry over 20 years, but I ended up buying this company back in 2019. Went almost a whole year before the pandemic hit, and it really changed a lot of the way we look at business and the way we sell, the way we service. And actually it really kind of pushed me towards what we ended up doing is creating programs to help smaller businesses, help nonprofits that might have bad credit so they can't get into a lease, might have issues with not being in business long enough, or they have whatever reason, hang-ups they have about banks or what have you. We have programs that can help the smaller companies, the smaller nonprofits that don't have banks and leasing options at their disposal. And so the programs we have will help smaller companies get into a nice-sized industrial machine, because a lot of times, even though they're small, they still need it. And with low commitment, our contracts are month to month. We provide the service, we provide the sales, we provide the technicians, the on-site technicians, and we're just a small local company, family owned, competing with the big boys, but we do it. I think we do it faster and better.
You're kind of taking a risk too, because if your clients are somebody who otherwise wouldn't have the best credit or couldn't go through traditional leasings, and you're taking a risk yourself.
It's come back. It's happened, but it doesn't change what we're doing. I understand going into any given situation, and they tell me up front, I have bad credit, or, I had one person tell me, I stopped paying the lease. I'm like, well, I guess you're not going to be able to get a lease. But he was a nice guy. It was a doctor's office, really great people. The girls up front were awesome, and so I wanted to help him. So that was 2 years ago. He's still been a customer, and he still pays, and just because they have bad credit doesn't necessarily mean you cut them off. If I can help them, and I'll take a chance, hey, it's month to month, doesn't work out, I pick up the machine and we part amicably, but and it's worth a try.
Yeah, so you obviously get some satisfaction in helping maybe people who are underserved or may not be at the forefront of a traditional bank lending, so on and so forth. It kind of gives you some, joy to do that. That's great. So 2 things, I guess. One is, could you provide the information or the contact for the NOR Chamber of Commerce so people want to visit it? I think it is norchamber.org, I think is the website, correct?
I think that's correct.
Okay,
yes.
And what about your personal website and social media handles, anything like that?
Well, my personal website would be execcopiers.com. It's execcopiers.com. I really wish I would have thought that website domain through. It's a little hard to, people don't really get it, but just Google Executive Copiers. We usually pop up first.
That's actually an important lesson. I don't want to skip over that real quick, because a lot of people who are starting new businesses, they have an idea, they have a concept, but they don't think about the small things that would come back and haunt them. Like, what are we naming our company? And then, 6 months down the road, it's like, I wish I would have changed that, or made my email address a little easier to say. So I think that's actually a good lesson for our listeners, is
absolutely
kind of think about the small things before you hit the ground running.
Yeah, I learned that the first time I had to spell it for a customer, and it took like 5 times. So
there you go.
There's 2 C's in the middle.
All right, Mr. Valenzula, I appreciate your time, and thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And we are again here at the NOR Business Expo. I'm with Kailey Salinas with Teen Challenge. Thank you for joining us on the R2 Cents podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, I've anyone who's been around this community for any period of time knows Teen Challenge. And so tell us a little bit about, for those who don't, what Teen Challenge does and what services you provide to the community.
Teen Challenge is a one-year faith-based residential recovery center. We help adults 18 years of age and older with life-controlling addictions, whether it be drugs, alcohol, or other life-controlling issues.
Okay, and what is your role with Teen Challenge?
I work for Southern California Teen Challenge as the public relations and grant writer, and then for Kern County, I serve as the special events coordinator.
Okay, so the grant writer, you are an important part of that challenge.
Networking
Teen Challenge.
and all that, yes.
Yeah. And so the grant writing that you do, is it mainly state, federal, where does it come from?
We work with different private foundations.
Okay.
And then we work with some government. We're looking into some government grants, but some of them we're not eligible for because of the faith base.
Okay. And where is the Teen Challenge facility here in Bakersfield?
We have a women's campus here in Bakersfield, and then the men's ranch is in Shafter.
Oh, it's in Shafter?
Yes.
Okay. And you said it's only 8, so there's no children, right? 18 and older?
No children,
okay.
yes.
And it's a one-year program?
One-year program. It's absolutely free to everybody who comes in, being a nonprofit. So we raise our funds through different fundraisers, special events, catering, food truck, things like that.
Okay. And is your program or services available to people who are looking to do some sort of program in lieu of incarceration, or is this all just community-based, non-criminal placement, so on and so forth?
There is people that do get court-ordered to Teen Challenge to come in and do our program, yes.
Okay.
So some people come in straight from jail, straight, from prison. They come with the clothes off their back, and so we help them get the things that they need in order to regain that life that they want.
And I'm sure you have some criteria for those. Certain offenses you probably aren't accepting into your court.
Right, yes. Okay. Yeah, we keep our campus safe, of course,
Yep. And so what brings you out to the NOR Business Expo? Are you here just to promote Teen Challenge? Are you looking to just get involved in the community, or what's your purpose here?
Yes, we're definitely here to network with everybody, and we also want to just let people know who we are in the community. A lot of people don't know what Teen Challenge is. They think that we help teenagers because of the name, but we actually help adults that are in recovery from addiction. And right now, addiction is skyrocketing. A lot of people don't have insurance or the funds to get treatment and recovery, and we offer it absolutely free to anybody that needs the help.
Yeah, that was unfortunately one of the byproducts of the pandemic, was addiction kind of.
Yeah, relapses were on the rise, and so we just want the community to know that we're here. We're here to help them. We have beds available, so just call us, and we want to help you.
That actually brings me up a couple of questions about the facilities, the women's in Bakersfield and the men's in Shafter. How many beds are in each facility?
We have 75 beds in Shafter, and at our women's campus, we have 45 beds.
Okay.
Yes.
And typically, from your experience, are women more likely to want to go get help, or men, or is it just across the board the same?
It's both. Yeah, it's both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to learn more about what Teen Challenge does, maybe get involved, donate, whatever, what's the best place to find you guys?
They can look at our Facebook page at Kern County Teen Challenge. They can call our women's campus at 661-399-CARE and get information there as well. We're also on Instagram.
Teen Challenge or Kern Teen Challenge?
At Kern County Teen Challenge, yes.
Okay. Well, again, Kailey, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much.
Randy with Employer Training Resources, welcome to the R2 Cents podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me out.
So we're here at the NOR Expo. Tell us a little bit why you guys came out today.
So we are Employer Training Resources, as I said. We're affiliated with American Job Center of Kern County. So we're essentially the county employment agency. So we help people in Kern County look for work, and we also help employers within Kern County to find qualified candidates to put to work.
Okay, and is it a county program, a state program?
It's a county program, so we're a county agency, and under that umbrella we have multiple programs we work with. So we help people with trainings. We have a training side that put people that need those skills and those different things. In that sense, we have money allocated towards that, so we have up to $10,000 to help people find the skills to go to work.
Okay.
And then on the other side, we help people go to work, right? We help with job searching. So we help people with the basics, resumes, how to do applications, how to interview, those basic skills. And then we also have programs where we help people, employers help, candidates train as well. So we have what's called the on-the-job training program is one of our our programs where we offset the wage up to 480 hours at 50% for employers to hire someone, and they get reimbursed that back for doing on-the-job training with that individual. So,
wow, that is a good program. So you're a program for the public to get training and placement. I imagine you're pretty valuable to employers too. Do you have your go-to employers that are already kind of hooked up into the
We do, but
system?
we're always looking to take on new employers as well. Like I said, we'll work with anybody that's in Kern County. So as far as any employer and with that program, it has some basic qualifications, but the main ones are they have to be at least 32 hours a week. They have to be, meet the qualifications to need the training, right? So if someone comes in overqualified, obviously that doesn't work. We don't have the incentive to put more training dollars into that individual. But if it's a position in which they, lack some skills, or let's say they're 70%, we can then, get them up to that 100% that they need through that time that we can work with them.
Yeah, and so do you have different avenues that you're putting people through training, or is it one-size-fits-all training program, or do you kind of parse people off into different channels depending on what they want to get into?
Yeah, so with this one in particular, the on-the-job training contract, it's specific to the employer that hires them, right? So whatever industry they're getting hired in, they'll be trained by the employer. Okay. So it's on them to do the training for whatever position is they're hiring for.
Is there a wait list for your program?
There's no wait list, so as far as candidates that need to come in with, we just need to enroll them into our agency, and then with employers, it's just a matter of them having a position that they need to fill.
And so typically will people be in your program and then waiting to be placed, or is it usually a pretty quick process?
So let's say an employer comes to us and says, hey, I'm looking for somebody. We'll put out job orders for them, so we do that as well. And then if a candidate becomes available, it takes about 10 days, 2 weeks roughly to get them all enrolled in, get them all the paperwork completed, and get them started on the job. So
that's not bad. So where are you guys located, and where can people find out more about you guys?
So our main location is 1600 East Bell Terrace. Okay. And then we have other satellite locations throughout Kern County as well. But
do you recommend people walk in the front door? Do you recommend they call?
So the best way is to either go on our website or to call us. So 325-HIRE is our direct number where they can call and get all the information. So
okay, and if you're an employer looking for people to come in, are you calling that same number?
Yep, 325-HIRE, and then they were just tell them what you're looking for, and they'll refer you to the right person. They'll transfer the call.
That's great, Randy. Thanks a lot for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Miriam from Radio Sandwich, welcome to the Our 2 Cents podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So we're here at the NOR Expo, and have you done this event before?
I've never done this event. I didn't know this community center existed.
Well, I could have guessed that because you said that, let's talk about your sandwich shop, because you said that you started in October, and so you just put this thing together. What's your location?
We are on the corner of 19th and L at 1229 19th Street.
What inspired you to do a sandwich shop?
The building.
Tell me about that.
So we were walking, it's a long story, but we're going to start at when we saw the building.
Let's start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning?
Well.
All right. Well, I was studying for my MCAT to get into medical school, and I couldn't think about anything but a restaurant. And so was like, all right, parents can't do it. I'm going to do something else instead. And they urged me to get an MBA so I could at least have some managerial training in my background. So I got that done, and then my dad convinced me to start looking for buildings. We drove past 19th Street, and about 3/4 of that block is abandoned.
Yeah.
And so we saw this unit with a for lease sign, beautiful old style, like small grandma purple tiles with like the metal security strip on the windows from back in the day, and it had a for lease sign. And so we called, my dad convinces me to call the guy. Apparently I was pretty resistant at that time. He convinces me to call the guy. We call him. The guy comes down, Gary Stein, and he walks us through this building. He opens the door, and it's this shotgun shack of a space, super long, old wood floors, blackened by time, and like half covered in old gross tile. And you look at it, and all you can feel is general store or deli. And
had it been a deli before?
No, it had been a pawn shop before.
Oh, had it? Okay, all right. Well, who knows? That thing's probably 100 years old. It's probably lived a lot of lives.
I know quite a bit about that building.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it was built in 1886, actually.
Okay, yeah.
And it has had grocery stores and hotels.
Oh, wow.
And it's had pawn shops and porn theaters and adult stores and a ton of fun stuff.
Yep.
Depending on your definition, I suppose. And then in the 50s, an earthquake kind of half tore down the second story.
Okay.
The owner finished tearing down the second story. and then sold it to the Steins. And they opened their first pawn shop there.
Okay. And so it's been vacant forever. Now you're back on the block.
Yep.
You're probably one of the only things right there on that block.
Yep, us in the Mint. And then the porn theater.
Oh,
don't forget the porn theater.
So, well, yeah. So do they get hungry over there at the porn theater and they come over to see you?
We have one guy who comes over. Okay. Yeah, we do. We do.
So how is traffic?
Traffic is getting better day by day.
Okay.
I think the city's putting in a lot of efforts to revitalize 19th Street as they did with 18th Street.
Yep.
And I think their next step is to do trees and lights, which are nice and important. And because of that, we're getting some more traffic coming over. People are starting to feel more comfortable. And we also do some late night events. So I think people seeing us at late night kind of helps them understand that we're a safe place to be, and that's been helping.
Okay, so with those late night events, are you doing that with trying to kind of target the scene, the downtown scene, the bar scene, and the nightlife scene that's going on downtown, and then you're the before meal or late night meal? Is that kind of what you're targeting?
Yeah, we're kind of both. So we expected to target a bunch of drunk, hungry people who usually would go to Jack in the Box or Del Taco.
But you're also the lunch crowd too.
We're also the lunch crowd.
Yeah, okay.
So when we reopen at 10 p.m. to 2:30 a.m.
Okay.
So we're up that whole time. We're up past the bars.
Got it.
So if you need to eat before, if you need to eat after, we're there for you.
Okay, and why sandwiches? You're studying for MCATs and you can't stop thinking about sandwiches?
I can't stop thinking about cooking. I've always been like that my whole life. And it was the building. We saw the building and it just had to be a deli of some kind. So
okay, that's good.
We did an all scratch, all local sandwich shop instead.
But what's your, how do you market? Is it all location or do you put stuff out?
Bakersfield's very specific in how it accepts its marketing, and we've noticed over time that word of mouth is the best marketing in this town. It's a long-term strategy, and so it makes the short-term very scary, but it's so worthwhile. Even our socials, we'll see them like it's a steady growth, which is so encouraging to see. We also have a lot of out-of-towners coming in, and they take our merch back to wherever they're from. And I guess we have high ratings,
so
which is
merch.
Nice. There's merch, sir. There's always merch.
Tell me about the merch.
We got some shirts. They're snazzy.
Got it.
Just a picture of a sandwich on it, if you can believe that. We've got little old like motel-style keychains.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got, what else we have? Stickers, and we're going to start working on a line of postcards. Maybe a slutty sandwich calendar, you know.
Yep.
The good stuff.
That's right. Next to the porn theater. You're going with the theme on the block.
We're going to go with the theme on the block. Yeah.
Great. So what's the best way for people to find you guys? Just, I guess, head on over and have a sandwich.
Head on over and have a sandwich. You can find us on Instagram at Radio Sandwich with 2 M's.
Oh, Sandwich.
Sandwich. Okay. Somebody else had taken Radio Sandwich.
Yep.
I told her if she ever comes to town, she can have a sandwich. And Google, Yelp, the website that we've got, radiosandwich.co.
Miriam, will we see you there?
Yes.
Good. Mm-hmm. All right. I think everybody ought to go over there, get a sandwich, have a conversation with Miriam, get fired up for the rest of the day.
Thanks, mister.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
My absolute delight.
This show has been brought to you by the Law Office of Kyle Jones, Troy Burton with the Lynn Company, CPA John Duffield, Scott Hanson Real Estate Lender, broker and investor, Dave Plivlich, President and CEO of the Marcom Group and MarcomBranding.com, and Amanda DiGiacomo, President of Atlas Financial Solutions. You've been listening to the Our 2 Cents podcast. Check out the show notes for links and more information about the show. Also visit our website at our2centspodcast.com or catch us on Instagram at Our 2 Cents Podcasts. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share with others.